Bandai Namco's made a lot of bad decisions over the years, and they have faced the wrath of customers, people who have decided to boycott their products and no longer support them. And now they've admitted they are all in on DEI after, quote, learning about it from Western media, talking about how they realize that not being represented may nullify a person's existence. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, over the years, Bandai's made a lot of bad decisions. I've had to talk about them a lot on my channel, from them releasing games with Sweet Baby Inc., like Unknown 9 Awakening, and then banning all the criticism, regarding their Sweet Baby Inc. involvement. They, of course, over the years have definitely shifted to focusing on, quote, following global standards, and they even went as far as changing their logo, which they said was to promote diversity, and they've generally become a company more interested in those sweet, sweet ESG dollars than actually focusing on what customers want. And now we're hearing a Bandai Namco rep confirming that after learning about the creativity killing concept from various Western sources, the Japan-based video game developer is fully dedicated to promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion within their games. It, of course, says this turn for the developer of the Tekken, Super Robot Wars, and Pac-Man franchises was revealed courtesy of a presentation given by a representative from their quality assurance department, Okama Miari, during the 2024 entry of the annual Computer Entertainment Developers Conference, an annual trade show in which members of the East Asian video game industry come together to discuss the practical aspects of their respective business operations, which is funny because this individual is part of a, bullshit department, the quality assurance department, someone else who is only getting paid because companies are, needlessly hiring people for these bizarre positions like DEI teams and groups. For example, those positions don't need to exist in companies, but they still think that it's going to gain them more sales, which is definitely not going to happen. It says titled aiming to be global in expression as well, DEI initiatives, the panel per a recap provided by a Japanese video game outlet 4Gamer, and machine translated by DeepL, saw them begin by confirming that the supposed reason for the company's turn to DEI was a desire to broaden the scope of their content and expose it to a wider variety of game players, which is lunacy. Bandai Namco is an extremely prominent name within the video game industry. Many people know that name, like if I said Capcom or Activision Blizzard. If I said these names, you're going to know what I'm talking about, and you're going to know who I am talking about. By trying to create games for everyone, they're really creating games for no one because they have watered down their content. We've seen this happen with a lot of developers, and it's pushing people away. I'm fine with diversity and inclusivity within my products, and I always say when it comes to the hiring side of things, the best person for the job should get the job, but companies have checklists that they follow on screen, in content, and behind the scenes, behind the monitors, and that should not be the way that the world works. DEI truly is the death of everything inventive, and when people see DEI initiatives plastered on companies' websites or developers admitting that this was a major focus in their game above things like storytelling or cohesive, fluid combat, we're instantly going to be extremely suspicious, and there are going to be a lot of people who withhold pre-orders and wait to see what was changed in a new upcoming video game release. Or when it comes to Hollywood, people are not going to, pre-purchase tickets because they want to see what others have to say first. It says to this end, the QA rep admitted that in order to expand their operations, they must take into consideration the tastes of their prospective audiences, and what she had learned from her overseas partners was that DEI was one, if not the biggest hot button issue for Western players, which is not true at all whatsoever. Again, diversity and inclusivity are good when they are not forced in order to, receive ESG dollars, and that is what we are seeing happen happening right now. Their sales have come from uniqueness in storytelling and visuals that come from that part of the world in which their developers are based in. And by incorporating all of these aspects of what Western players want and of DEI, they're going to water down and destroy that uniqueness of their storytelling. JRPGs won't be JRPGs anymore. They'll all just be RPGs, and you are losing a major source of marketing. Let's be honest, when I hear JRPG versus RPG, I instantly get excited because I've enjoyed so much content that's come from Japanese developers in my lifetime. And if you're just going to water everything down, you're not going to have that special category anymore. You're not going to be special, and it means that you are not going to be treated differently by players. Over the years, we have seen a shift away from Western media, gamers going to Korean developers and Japanese developers, looking to other markets in order to consume their content. And what you are doing now is exactly what happened with Western media and why so many people decided to ultimately skedaddle, why people decided to give up on Western devs and the content that they were creating. And if you're going to water down your content and do exactly what they're doing, you're going to see the same decline in sales. I always say this, if characters from, around the world are part of a story that a writer wants to create organically, that's fine. But to have a checklist and an outline that someone has to follow where you have 40% women or people of color, it's idiotic, and people see how forced it is and they want to stay away from that product. And I don't expect Bandai to really care about what we have to say, because over the years they clearly haven't. Again, I've talked about them so many times on the channel, but it's just so extremely disappointing to see this happen yet again, to see them going down the list of their old content and re-releases, and they're censoring females, and ports of 1987 games. Bandai Namco's localization manager had admitted only 7 months ago that they were forcing Japanese developers to censor creations for the West. We've seen costumes be made region-exclusive DLC because they're afraid of the backlash, and this just isn't the way that you are going to gain sales or respect. Bandai Namco is a well-known name within the video game industry, but over the years, they have definitely highlighted what the issue is in the gaming industry and how there are companies that are censoring their content and forcing their developers to focus on, Western standards, aka what sensitive snowflakes on social media want, and it's just not going to work out for them in the end. And we have heard them, reiterate this several times over the years that they are all in on DEI and trying to capture a global market of gamers, which they already had a lot of Western gamers interested in their content, but now they're basically just giving us all the finger and pushing us away. So this is why the Korean games industry is booming right now. I've done a couple of videos recently on the fact that Korean developers are seeing a major boom. They're seeing a rapid incline in sales, and it's good to see because people are not going to blindly support companies anymore, especially ones like Bandai Namco, who are focused on diversity and inclusivity efforts above genuinely good storytelling and amazing combat. So I will be keeping my eye on this to see if anyone tries to reiterate these points or clarify and damage control, because I'm sure they're going to face a lot of backlash over this. Only time will tell, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.